Story 1. Women who are unable to express their emotions or needs. Women who are dishonest. Women who cannot resolve problems or conflicts without creating drama or who avoid them. Women who treat others poorly. Narcissists or those with similar disorders. Story 2. Women who do not communicate and do not take accountability for their actions. Women who have tantrums when they do not get their way, including giving the silent treatment and deflecting problems. Story 3. When they cannot communicate or compromise, it leads to intense insecurities, a refusal to seek help or therapy, and clinginess. I want a partner, not someone I am supposed to babysit. Story 4. A woman who is focused on her outer beauty often engages in serial monogamy, jumping from one relationship to another and having casual encounters in between without healing from the trauma caused by previous relationships. She may have a steady stream of partners to hook up with before and after a relationship fails, and she may exhibit behaviors associated with cheating and a victim mentality. Story 5. After 3 narcissists in a row, the worst part is that you always feel like you're about to get through, but you're not. Story 6. At this point in my life, I'm just looking for someone who hasn't neglected her teeth or retirement savings contributions. Story 7. Women with low emotional intelligence struggle to manage and express their emotions healthily. While it's natural to have feelings, there is a significant difference between getting upset and letting emotions overwhelm you in a toxic way. Story 8. Anyone who aspires to be a social media influencer should take note. Living in a landlocked state and making your entire profile about how much you love the beach seems contradictory. I imagine them staring at a blank wall for 51 weeks a year. Story 9. The people at the bar who think they need to be loud so that everyone pays attention to them believe that if others are looking at them, it means they are liked. They lack self-awareness of how obnoxious they can be. Story 10. Women who excessively use social media experience negative effects on their mental well-being. They often overestimate themselves, have very short attention spans, lack self-reflection, and struggle to manage disagreements in a healthy way. Story 11. If I am on a dating app and see someone with 10 pictures of nothing but crazy, exotic places they have traveled, I just assume I am too poor to date them. Story 12. Any woman who says, "Most of my friends are men because women can be so petty," is likely projecting. It is best to avoid such statements. Story 13. Astrology, excessive social media use, and anything that conveys an entitlement attitude, as well as any form of rudeness towards others. Story 14. 1. Women who place all the responsibility for their happiness on their partner. The same applies to boredom. Women who cannot take responsibility for their mistakes or are unwilling to learn from them. This applies to my male friends as well. I am not interested in women who are not lifelong learners, unwilling to discuss projects or tasks around the house or in life. I do not want to be with someone who thinks it is acceptable to assign me tasks without discussion. I am not referring to emergencies or daily life tasks. Women who discuss intimate parts of our life with friends, family, or on social media. I find this highly undesirable, and this behavior is a deal breaker for me. Story 15. If she is receiving a lot of messages every time you hang out, just trust me and do not get invested. I know this is a very random observation that could have multiple explanations, yet I have noticed a pattern every time I have dated a girl who is constantly receiving messages. She is talking to many other guys. She seems very interested in me and wants to see me often, but the more we hang out, the more she starts discussing other guys. Once the excitement with me wears off, she becomes distant and disappears, moving on to the next one, leaving me feeling lonelier than ever. Story 16. Women who behave like the manic pixie dream girl trope are often characterized by their mental challenges and personality disorders. Additionally, there are women who are heavily invested in celebrity culture. Story 17. Shallowness and ghosters. If you are shallow, you will not share my values. If you are a ghoster, you are not mature enough for a date, let alone a relationship. Simple. Story 18. Influencers and radical activists of any kind, whether related to feminism, religion, climate, veganism, or pro-life issues, along with gossipers and individuals who thrive on drama, are not beneficial. Nothing good will ever come from these. Story 19. The kind that jumps to conclusions about many things at the same time has terribly inaccurate intuition. Story 20. Flaky individuals who take no accountability for their own actions. I present Exhibit 1. I have a friendly exchange with a woman, a friend of a friend, over Instagram about Christopher Nolan movies. I have no romantic interest, but the woman asks me out for coffee. I agree. When the time comes for coffee, she cancels. I think that's no problem, so what does she do? She asks me out again for coffee. When that time comes, I ask if this weekend is good. She ignores my message. 1 week later, I see an Instagram story from her that states, "People should have the right to ignore because some individuals don't understand the message." In other words, someone was feeling guilty for making advances and then flaking on them. Since we were in the same social circle, this individual had to find a way to justify their behavior by shifting the blame onto me, when all I did was initially talk about Christopher Nolan movies with her and agree when she asked me out twice. Story 21. Plague bearers. No, seriously. It's still a good first date conversation. How did you manage during COVID? Leave it open-ended. The anti-vaccine advocates and conspiracy theorists can't help themselves. Story 22. Single mothers. I know it can be challenging at my age, but they are still out there. However, to be fair, they often come with their own set of difficulties that can make dating more complicated. Story 23. Women who believe the sun rises and sets on them, who take without giving, and whose idea of a relationship is that you do what they want. Story 24. The individuals who have boils, cough blood, and appear very ill. I do not want the plague. Story 25. Unfortunately, most women seem very attracted to me. I tend to attract codependent women with various issues, as well as women who are the exact opposite of everything I am drawn to. I have been fortunate to have had some good relationships, but I have also experienced my fair share of difficulties. As a result, I have stopped trying to date and have accepted that I will probably be alone. In fact, the last 4 women I have been closely involved with, not even to the point of dating, have all passed away, 3 from substance abuse and 1 from a bad reaction to a prescription medication. Story 26. This is a personal preference and controversial to some, but a trait I avoid in many men is being more forgiving towards a woman who is not trying to accomplish much, essentially just a worker bee. I prefer a woman who is educated, holds a higher status job, or has her own business and investments. Story 27. Easy ones to look out for on a first date. Being rude to the waiter, looking at the phone, not asking questions, lacking opinions, and making you feel like you have to impress them. Story 28. Dating profile. Interests include wine, coffee, dance clubs, and traveling. What am I supposed to do with this? Story 29. Women who get attached too quickly often have their reasons for wanting to establish a connection fast. I dated a girl who wanted to marry me after only a couple of weeks. I later discovered that she was a drug user and was constantly stealing money from her grandmother. She even lied to me about needing to pay her phone bill, using the money instead to buy drugs. Yes, that was partially my fault. I shouldn't have given her the money, but the audacity it takes to do something that deceitful is remarkable. Story 30. Honestly, women who make clubbing their entire personality can be attractive, but they are often only engaging for a short time before becoming a headache. The same goes for those who claim to love to travel. Let's be real, you went on a European tour once about 4 years ago, funded by your parents. You aren't traveling on my budget. Story 31. Smokers, those who try to change me, and dishonest individuals. One already started to tell me that I had to get rid of my band shirts before we even had one date. Yeah, that is not going to happen. Story 32. Women who do not have many career opportunities and are not working towards any goals, but expect you to be successful and support them. Story 33. Attention-seeking women with a significant social media presence, especially those who post numerous selfies seeking compliments. Story 34. I haven't been in the game for a long time, which is a good thing because I don't envy the youth nowadays. It was easier before social media to get to know people. Yes, people were better at socializing before the advent of social media platforms. However, I'd like to interject that religious individuals in college tend to engage more in dating. It has almost become a joke among others in the same dorm. It's often the least religious people who practice virtue daily. They are also more likely to know the Bible better than those who actually claim to be religious. I understand this may attract criticism, but it is simply my own experience, and I recognize that there are exceptions. If you are religious and demonstrate it through your actions as Jesus taught, then kudos to you. Story 35. If they don't actively try to make it to the first date, I understand that things can happen sometimes. However, there are occasions when they cancel and vaguely mention being free next weekend or something similar. If you need to cancel, just propose a specific date that you're available or be honest and say you don't want to date. Once I started dating my current girlfriend, all the girls who previously showed interest started coming back into my life and suddenly seemed interested again. It's as if some women want to feel desired and enjoy the attention that comes from being unavailable. Story 36. Women who want a baby before their next birthday simply seek a partner to help them with their goal. Story 37. Party girls are flirty and often have no female friends, preferring to surround themselves with male friends because they believe women create too much drama. This attitude can be quite annoying. Story 38. The individuals without jobs who enjoy traveling and living an expensive lifestyle often seek a generous partner. Story 39. Not single, but I would say anyone who makes you feel like they are doing you a favor by giving you attention and emphasizes that you are replaceable. Story 40. Oh my gosh, I am so spontaneous. It's tough finding a partner who can keep up with me. All my guy friends think I am a total catch. He also has to be cool with my guy friends because I don't have many girlfriends. I am not like other girls. Story 41. High-maintenance women are often in constant need of validation, seeking to get their way through physical upgrades. They may feel unable to leave the house without makeup and may frequently complain. This behavior can be overwhelming. Story 42. Those who cannot take accountability for their actions or contributions. Those who prioritize social media, especially if done in a way that conceals their partner. Wanting one date night post as a couple is fair enough. However, needing several to showcase the fancy places you visited, the great food, and cocktails while the guy is nowhere to be seen is not acceptable. Story 43. Comparing options. Oh, you can do this or that. My ex did that for me. You are very skilled. Go, my friend, go. Story 44. The top comment covered the basics of who everyone should avoid. Very much childish toddler traits in an adult's body. A type I have learned to watch out for and avoid is manipulative and pretentious individuals. Their biggest tell is that their actions and words barely ever align. It is consistently pity-party excuses, lying or outright dismissing, avoiding, or ignoring that they have said something. They belittle their friends in daily interactions. The conversations are focused more on how much better they are, with consistent look-at-me, judgmental and snarky comments that their friends and family would be disappointed to find out they made. Seeing them lie to their friends is an obvious indication of what kind of person they are. Additionally, after the lies to family and friends are revealed, they fake apologize, manipulatively believing that it resets and no one notices or remembers. Then they repeat this cycle again and again. Avoid at all costs. Story 45. Speaking from experience, it is unfortunate to say that women who have deep issues with their fathers often face challenges later in life. You can deny it as much as you want, but these issues can resurface unexpectedly. I didn't want to think about it, and I had been warned before, but I disregarded that warning. Story 46. High-maintenance individuals who are vain, materialistic, and interested in a superficial, fame-seeking lifestyle. Story 47. No longer single, but women who had a history of choosing violent men. I'm not going to fight anyone over a woman. Story 48. Women who develop their thought processes purely from social media, such as in the debate about choosing a bear over a man on TikTok. Story 49. Leftist feminists, in my experience, tend to be insufferable and generally mean and dismissive towards those who do not share their often narrow worldview. Story 50. I avoid 3 red flags. tattoos, rainbow hair, and long nails. I am old enough to know that any of these mean trouble sooner or later. Story 51. Drama queens first and foremost. I am not talking about normal drama that happens every day in life, but about creating drama constantly from morning to night when there isn't any. Story 52. The majority of women fit most of the categories described in this thread. The effort simply isn't worth the outcome. Story 53. Women who are immoral, misandrist, bigoted, spiteful, immature, entitled, rude, unkind, mean, dishonest, envious, unwilling to take any initiative, and abusive. Story 54 is only focused on looks and money, believes in racism, xenophobia, or sexist ideas, which include statements like, all men are the same, is easily manipulated by friends or others, does not want to contribute anything and expects me to do all the work, demands an extremely attractive partner while not meeting similar standards, is a compulsive liar, ghoster, gaslighter, manipulative, jealous, condescending, controlling, and overall toxic. This includes emotional and verbal abuse. Never takes responsibility for her actions and argues over everything. Has a hurtful way of teasing, such as cheating pranks. Maintains poor hygiene and does not engage in basic physical activities like walking. Constantly seeks approval and attention from others, even strangers, rather than being independent and focused on her own life, especially on social media. Friend-zones individuals while enjoying the attention without regard for the emotional pain she causes. Frequently visits nightclubs, drinks, smokes, or uses other substances. Is not over a past relationship. Is extremely boring to talk to and struggles with casual conversation. Has a criminal history. Exhibits classic entitled behavior. Story 55. Women who express misandrous sentiments such as, I'd rather be locked up with a bear, or statements like, I hate men, but you're one of the good ones, are concerning. Additionally, women who have platforms like Snapchat Premium or OnlyFans raise issues for me. Beyond my personal discomfort with a girlfriend sharing nude pictures online, it fundamentally concerns me that she may be exploiting lonely men for financial gain. Story 56. This list is not in any particular order. Gold diggers, liars, narcissists, women with anger issues, manipulators, women who expect a flawless, invincible partner and leave or criticize you if you show any vulnerability. Controlling individuals who want to monitor every aspect of your life due to trust issues. Women with poor hygiene who do not take care of themselves. Women who only care about physical relationships, not romance. Women who do not communicate and expect you to read their minds. Women who desire open relationships. Women who express disdain for men. Story 57. Religious, Christian, conservative, and Republican, but also ultra-liberal, overly political, and excessively focused on identity, especially racial identity of any kind. Story 58. I have yet to feel like I have had an equal partner. Every woman I have been with has made me feel like their caregiver. I want us to be two mature adults who are a team, not just me carrying everything. Story 59. I don't want to date another man. It's exhausting, and there's a significant difference between being a submissive, passive partner and being a normal, pleasant, self-reliant partner who is feminine, nice, and occasionally says, you pick, I'm open to whatever. If an attractive woman is genuinely interested in traditional masculine roles, that's fine. I dated a tomboy, and it was enjoyable to play video games and go target shooting with her. She was also happy and pleasant. However, most of the time, the ambitious corporate climber seems miserable, similar to men who accumulate luxury cars in an attempt to create a personality. Story 60. Here is the revised text. In no particular order: poor hygiene, obesity, negative attitudes towards men, self-proclaimed entrepreneurs, and substance abuse issues. There may be more, but that is what comes to mind. Story 61. As a widower in my 50s, I find that most available women are divorced. Many discuss their ex's shortcomings but refuse to acknowledge their own role in the relationship. They do not receive another date with me. If at that age you still refuse to take personal responsibility for failed relationships, you will likely never take responsibility for your shortcomings. This attitude tends to lead to more failed relationships, and I have no intention of entering one that is destined to fail. Story 62. Those who demand payment on the first date should reconsider. Women are equal to men and are earning more now, especially among millennials and younger generations. Dating and modern life can be expensive, and it is unreasonable to make such demands. Story 63. Those who believe in magical beliefs such as astrology, witchcraft, tarot, and Reiki, along with other pseudosciences. Story 64. Such an extensive list that I barely try anymore, to be honest. There are adults with pediatric hobbies who have a list of ex-partners they describe as crazy. They blame the consequences of their own actions on others, are manipulative, and experience significant anxiety and depression to the extent that performing simple tasks like making a phone call or going to the store feels overwhelming. The list goes on. Story 65. I have never had a woman express interest in me, but if she had incompatible life goals with mine, I would decline her romantic intentions. Story 66. Those who apply a thin or thick layer of makeup every day and face the world. Not your style? No problem. Story 67. I don't date. However, if I were looking for a relationship, I would avoid emotionally unstable and unreasonable individuals. I prefer partners who have interests and a fulfilling life outside of the relationship. I struggle to notice positive traits, as I often focus on the negative ones. Story 68. If you are dating me, you need to step up for my child. I don't mind dating someone with a child, but it sounds like you want me to take on a parental role on the first date, and I don't even have the benefit of intimacy yet. I'm not ready for all of that at once. Misandrists are also a major concern. Any form of bigotry will not be accepted, so that option is immediately out. People who are open about cheating on a partner or who identify as swingers are not suitable for me. Even if I were looking for a casual encounter, this could easily go wrong, and it seems incredibly cruel to treat someone that way. On a more superficial note, I really don't care for piercings. A few here and there are fine, but if you could be attracted to a magnet or pose a hazard in an MRI machine, that's not for me. Story 69. Women who do not communicate directly, are unable to discuss complicated real-life situations and challenges, and enjoy drama receive none of my attention. Story 70. Women avoid me so I don't have to worry about avoiding them. It's both depressing and rewarding at the same time. Story 71. What's fun and crazy now will become overwhelming later. It's enjoyable to do things on a whim, but this can be taxing on one's wallet. Story 72. It is important to find someone emotionally intelligent, someone who can communicate how they feel. The most important quality for me is trustworthiness in every way possible. I also value someone who is level-headed and reasonable. There is nothing worse than trying to have a conversation about something and it turning into an argument each time. Story 73. All of them, but I am 46 years old and own an Xbox, so it's not like they are missing out. Women from my generation dislike gamers and taught their daughters that gaming is negative. Story 74. The overly confident individuals can sometimes be a 3 out of 10 in attractiveness. Being excessively self-assured often raises a red flag for me. I frequently observe this in women who may not be very attractive but behave as if someone like David Beckham should be pursuing them. Story 75. I do not date straight women, only bisexual individuals. Straight women and I do not connect well, mainly because I am bisexual and a little vibrant. Story 76. I don't date religious women, women who want children, women with children, or women who do not have a good job or job prospects. It's not that there's anything wrong with these types of women, but if I'm dating a woman with the intent of having a relationship, I avoid women with whom I will never be able to have a future. Story 77. Women who are angry, whether openly or passive-aggressively, can exhibit rudeness and often hold strong political views. I am cautious around women who did not have a positive male figure in their lives while growing up, but I do not dismiss them outright. Story 78. I don't want or need to date, but when I feel the need for some intimate contact, I just go on Grindr. Couldn't be simpler. Story 79. Fans of astrology, Wiccanism, witchcraft, or anything spiritual. Fans of Taylor Swift or any excessive celebrity worshippers in general. If you just like her music, that's fine. But if you feel the need to include "will see Taylor" or "saw Taylor" in your Twitter username, no thanks. Has a college degree or even a minor in gender studies, sociology, or anything related. If they are already a potential human resources issue in the workplace, I don't want to deal with them in my personal life either. Story 80. Definitely not single, but during my single days, some of my worst experiences were with the martyr types. Story 81. Entitlement is the #1 relationship poison. If you are an adult and believe that someone owes you something upon meeting for the first time, you need to grow up. Story 82. Attention-seeking, combative, or opportunistic. Just as you are not an object of desire, I am not an object of wealth. We need to align our perspectives, and I need you to follow my lead. I am generally willing to reciprocate the leader-follower dynamic, as it is not one-sided. Story 83. TikTok influencers with Kardashian beauty styles and all that nonsense. I have solid values, so nowadays I know that whoever I approach appreciates my company and the activities we do together. If we are a few dates in, we are probably halfway there. Vain, materialistic, and shallow individuals will not find interest in me because I don't speak their language. Story 84. Religious women and those who believe in the healing powers of crystals and conspiracy theorists. Story 85. The entitled, dishonest, or unaccountable individuals, so all of them. I couldn't find any women who weren't terrible human beings. I suppose they exist, but I couldn't find any of them. I gave up on dating a few years ago, and honestly, my life is better for it. Story 86. I prefer people who are down to earth. I appreciate spending on someone I am interested in, but during the first and possibly the second encounter, you are mostly a stranger. Story 87. People in general, who treat restaurant staff or others as if they are lesser individuals, are behaving disrespectfully. Story 88. Entitled princesses. Club girls who primarily focus on themselves and appear materialistic. Story 89. Toxic women. Let me elaborate. These women casually try to coerce you and decide on your behalf when you have clearly stated otherwise. They try to make you explain or qualify your feelings. Those are the ones I dislike the most. Story 90. Not even sure why I am on this app. You think you are better than others. Not into profiles, just ask. You have a limited understanding of yourself. I do not do drama. Yes, you do. You thrive on it. Story 91. Sex workers of any kind, past or present, who share details of their daily lives on social media. If she is involved in or expresses any interest in non-monogamy, that is a definite no. Individuals who frequent clubs or bars. Story 92. Women from a place called Frome in Somerset dated the third, and they have all been as mad as a frog in a box. Avoid. Story 93. Women with a master's degree or doctorate may sometimes adopt an attitude that suggests they are superior to those who do not possess such qualifications. Story 94. Any woman who wears long acrylic nails and piercings presents significant warning signs. I have not been proven wrong yet. Story 95. Not interested in dating, but if I did, I would have a list. 1. Women with borderline personality disorder, other mental illnesses, personality disorders, or unresolved issues with parental figures. Hispanic women, I know I might receive criticism for this, but many have a reputation for being difficult, and their male relatives may also be challenging to deal with. Not all are like this, but a significant number are. Women who self-identify as feminists or who express negative views about men. Women who behave like spoiled or bratty children. Additionally, women who are argumentative or antagonistic. I prefer relationships that enhance my life, not complicate it. Single mothers. Women with addictions or those who struggle to manage their finances. Story 96. Other than the obvious unattractive individuals, such as smokers, those addicted to social media, individuals who cannot have female friends, or those with a poor relationship with their parents. Story 97. A significant red flag based on my experience is noticing how someone talks about their friends, family, and peers. I used to view things through rose-tinted glasses, but the number of times my ex would constantly criticize her friends or people she supposedly cared about is astonishing in hindsight. The key takeaway is this: if she talks negatively about her friends without any concern, it undoubtedly means she is likely speaking poorly about you to her friends and family. When her parents and friends suddenly start giving you strange vibes, it begins to make much more sense. Story 98. Political women, whether politicians or activists, are those who are deeply engaged in politics, regardless of whether you share their views. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.